Oh, what is up, everybody? Excuse me, I have a bit of a cold. Sorry for the coughing. If you're a ham and you talk nonsense on the air, I will record it, and I'll make a song like this with the clips. This was recorded on 14.313 megahertz. This gentleman is always on that frequency. Ooh, buddy. Hope everybody had fun on the live stream chat. You know I did. That was awesome. Do go back and check it out if you didn't see it. But yeah, big shout out to SIDEBOOM on his. That was just so cool. That was like the best. I mean, I should just do that from now on. Like anytime I want to learn something, I don't want to learn it. I'm just gonna have someone come on my channel and explain it to me. That's an amazing way to learn. I should just do that from now on. Why do I not do that? All right. So we are, let's see, just came here to say rovers on Mars. Okay, there you go. So we are going to hop into the Discord. That's what this is all about, guys, FYI. This is the after chat for the Ham Radio Crash Course. And what we do here specifically is help people out with amateur radio questions, help people get started in amateur radio, all that fun stuff. That's our goal. That's what we do. The main show, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that's where we talk about a topic, right? That's like our guided, focused discussion. And then we have the after chat where we get to answer questions about that topic, which I hope we're doing right now with CB Radio, or just help people out getting on the air. That's what we like to do. So here we go. Discord is a text and voice chat. I'm going to hop into the text chat and the voice chat. If you're so inclined, you can join us. Link is in the description. And go to hashtag live stream chat or live-stream and then excuse me, I just ate some food. Live-stream / after chat is the voice chat, and it sounds a little bit like this.
How hackable our stuff is. So we have all the hacking tools, and it's like you can't keep us from having those tools.
Sorry,
Josh.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. So SIDEBOOM's in the house. I see him there. Thanks again, buddy. Appreciate you. That you did an absolutely fantastic job on the live stream today. So again, biggest.
I'm just trying to get down, man.
He's just trying to get down. Well, you did. I think you successfully got down. So appreciate you. All right. So because we had an interview, I would like to throw any questions that we have related to CB contesting. Contesting is the wrong word. What they call breaks, key down competitions. Contesting is my ham radio nerd speak, as I'm trying to apply that to CB, which I know is not how that rolls. So anybody with a question for SIDEBOOM, just introduce yourself and throw it over there. Maybe every SIDEBOOM answered all the questions.
Crickets.
He did actually do a really good job of answering a lot of the questions.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you guys, I don't care who it is in the chat tonight, if y'all have any more of those videos on that stuff, drop them in the chat. I'd really like to look at some more of that stuff.
Yeah, and for everybody that's curious, I'll drop the link to the YouTube for the key down contest that Mike recovered for us. So you go in the chat, you can check that out to figure out what's this all about if you missed the show. But yeah, those things are great. There is a question. What is my next ham radio project? Well, my Christmas light antenna. I got to get that going. I got to get most of the work for that tomorrow done so that we can get that up on the air. So, all right. Let's go back to any questions for SIDEBOOM specifically related to CB or the show topic that we just ran.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know if I got covered it because I lost internet there for a while, so I didn't get to see the whole thing. SIDEBOOM, have you ever modded a radio that was meant for ham radio to use for CB?
I do not condone in those styles of
Fed.
activities.
Spot the Fed.
Did Noah join the chat?
Noah has entered the chat.
I mean, yes, pretty much all of my radios are modified to go both ways, but it's not so I can sit there and talk CB on those radios. But, you know, if I have the ability to talk on it and I need it, I have it. It's already modded.
Yep.
But you do find a lot of guys that'll talk non-competition bias. So a lot of the guys that'll sit there and run like 17, 38, 28 lower sideband, upper sideband, they will run a ham radio just because of the audio and what you can do with it versus a lunchbox CB radio.
What's a lunchbox CB radio?
Like your Cobra 29s or Galaxies, just your basic run-of-the-mill, as we like to call them, splatter boxes.
Yeah.
Splatter box. Is that really what they call them?
What we call them. I mean, some people do.
So there was a term that you threw out, and I think it got mentioned twice, but we didn't go into any detail. What are voice toys?
Noise toys?
Noise toys,
So basically think of it as a your soundboard on your radio. So back to the simplest days is they used to sell noise toys that you would mod into your radio and you'd push a little button. It would be like, the Road Runner, or it'd make a fart noise or something goofy.
Whip sound.
Yeah. And now they're a little bit more advanced because you can actually direct record from like an MP3 device or from a computer and dump whatever sound you want onto those toys instead of it just being a pre-recorded XYZ toy.
And we didn't get to it, but there's that YouTube channel. What'd you call it? Mr. X's CB
Mr.
Shop?
X's CB Shop, yes.
So that's he's a YouTube channel here, and this is that the Cobras, right? And are those boxes on the top? Are those the
most of his stuff is the a lot of the stuff you'll see him doing now is the strikers, but for every button and knob correlates a different noise, and some of those switches are 3-position switches, so it'll have an up and a down to have a different sound.
They're fantastic looking, man. Does the
big boy.
videos actually play? Like, does he do? That's awesome.
Este es el llamador de entrada número 2. Este es el llamador de entrada número 3.
That's so cool. So yeah, it's literally like a voice box, like I use on the podcast, right?
Este
That
es
kind
el
of thing.
llamador de entrada número 4.
I should just do all of my podcast stuff off a box like this.
You could. I mean, it's a direct audio box. Like, you could just put a headphone jack on the backside.
Llamador de entrada
It'd be a little bit more
número
expensive than your. I guess, what are you using now to do yours?
So not the Rode, the other one, the Zoom P8 Pod Master thing.
Yeah, you're probably looking at about over $1,000 in just customization into that radio right there.
That's $1,000 radio?
No, that's $1,000 in mods.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Noise toys are not cheap.
Wow, that's impressive. That's amazing. All right, let's go back to questions for SIDEBOOM. Anybody got anything for him here? Since we got him, we want to answer those questions if we have him come in. He's also a ham radio guy too, of course, but we're
actually on the Facebook. I had a guy upset that I posted go ahead, Don.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So did you mentioned in the Cobra 29 as being very moddable? Do you know, like, could you go over some of the mods that they can do to that radio that make it so unique?
For the the competition guys, it's mainly the fact that they can do variable modulation, variable dead key wattage, so they could have a knob, and if they wanted to key up with 5 watts, they turn it and dial it in for 5 watts. If they want to key up and dial in for half a watt or a watt, they just turn a knob.
Right.
Also, the fact they're a dime a dozen, you can modify them to do direct audio input, as you see a lot with like the motor mouth mall mods. That's another reason he likes to run those Cobra 29 chassis.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a dime a dozen. I mean,
Cobra
go to
29 's
any
like a
ham
Miata.
fest. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's worse than a Miata. It's like a Honda Civic. They're everywhere, man.
Dwayne Hansen. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, tell me what hamfest you haven't been to and at least seen one Cobra 29 on one of the tables.
Of course, that's true. No question from Dwayne, just a comment. Saw y'all pop up in my feed and wanted to wish Josh and all the ham fam a happy holiday. Got to run to dinner with, or dinner will burn, DEKD7FOG. Well, thank you very much for watching and hanging out. Appreciate it. There's a bunch of questions on YouTube, so I'll start working through those. But SIDEBOOM, you said you had something over on Facebook. What's going on there?
So yeah, I posted up a picture of my new FL7000 in operation, and I put that I just got down, and I had one of the members on the HRCC group get a little bit upset that I was a CBer, or thought that I was a CBer. He went as far as blocking me, which just made me laugh.
I don't understand the hate. I really don't. Like, and I think you summed it up pretty nicely. Nobody's messing with our bands really. Like we're pretty separate. There's not a lot of overlap. It's just not that big a deal. I just don't know why there's so much animosity between CBers and ham radio. And honestly, I would probably say like the CBers are not really coming at us. It's ham radios that are throwing the shade at the CBers. I don't think CBers give two craps about what we do. Right? They're doing their own thing. They're having their own fun.
I never understood that either. There's the animosity and the hate bubble between the two of us, two different radio operators, or not understandable, man.
That's it.
In some cases, the difference of a meter.
That's right.
I could try and explain it, but it's a long-winded and stupid tirade on how classist old radio used to be.
I
don't think we have enough crayons to do it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But I think that's probably it. And you know, Smoking Ape said Starbelly Sneeches, and that's exactly what it is. It's a weird little elitist thing that people can feel okay looking down on other people, and I'm always against that. I'm always gonna rally against that as much as I can. So yeah, let people enjoy their radio. If it's CB, so be it. It's cool. If they have fun, that's their thing, man. Let them enjoy their life.
Hey, I got a comment on this.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Hey, this is Wes KI5WES. I had to jump in here on this. So I am still pretty active in CB. There are 2 relatively local CB shops that I go to once or twice a year to pick up equipment or whatever, and they just don't know a lot about ham stuff. They'll ask as many questions to us as we ask of them. So I'll go and I'll spend an hour talking about the different band segments or whatever and trying to break that into channels and stuff. And these guys know what they're talking about with their radios. They just don't understand, don't have the knowledge of the ham stuff from my experience.
Right.
That's also true because I still have a good buddy of mine in the area that does CB radio. And I took one of my oldest static microphones to get modified to work with my 891 with the custom up and down channel select for the 891 modified in the mic, and he literally called me. I had to give him a crash course on how to operate the 891 so he could test all the features on it. He was like, I don't know what all this stuff does.
Yeah, and I also want to shout out, Josh, that SIDEBOOM also rocks the Baofeng leather holster, so just throwing that out there.
Yes,
y'all who want to be a Fang Daddy gunslinger.
That's it, man. You got to get that. You got to keep that thing on you. You got to keep that fang on you is what you're supposed to say there. That's what I should have said. Right on, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate the holster too. Thank you.
You want to know something that's interesting that I find with CBers?
Sure. As long as
So-
it's not something where we're shaming them, because I'm not going to be okay with that.
No,
But I
no,
don't
no,
think
no, no.
that's- Yeah.
So I have a coworker that actually got me back into CB, and I eventually put one in my truck because he didn't want to get his ham license, and him and his friends would use CB.
Mhm.
So I put one in my truck, and of course, being from ham radio, you going into the antenna feed point, you put the electrical tape, you put the sealant over, then you electrical tape it again, all that fun stuff.
Mhm.
I look at his rig, and it's literally, and he bought this online. He's like, yeah, my dad, he has the same thing. It works great. Don't mess with it. He had literally like the cheapest coax coming out to, how do I explain this? The crimp-on butt connector, or not butt connectors, but little, we call it circle things, terminal, connectors. That to the bottom of it, and that's sold by one of the main manufacturer of like CB stuff. And he's like, yeah, that's perfect. It wasn't until like maybe 6 months later he was having issues with his radios, and he was adamant that he would not let me help him fix it. And the wire at the, and I'll find the picture on Amazon because they still sell the same kit. The wire literally corroded away.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just let me go find the Amazon post for it. It's really sad. It's a kit you can buy to get like an antenna on your truck, but the way they connect the coax to the antenna is total BS.
Interesting. Okay.
But he wouldn't accept my offer to fix it as a ham operator because he was so dead set this is the correct way. When I showed him my setup, he still wouldn't let me fix it, which was weird.
Well,
So I don't know.
That's more him being stubborn, I'm assuming, than anything else. That may be what's going on there.
I'm just gonna tell you guys all, don't believe what they say about truck stock coax. I've been running it on my 891 for a year, and it's been doing just fine.
Truck stop coax is good, is what you're saying?
It's doable.
Okay.
I've got better stuff to replace it, but then the whole laziness time.
Where's
thing.
Mike KMRD?
It's in chat.
He should go get some truck stop coax.
Truck stop coax sounds like a cover band of some sort.
Just to
90s
mention
cover.
there, endpoint, that way of hook and eyeing the coax onto a thing is how a lot of the big HF tri-banders actually connect. They don't have plugs on them.
Yeah.
They use those style connectors because you can then put that in a box and seal it. They don't, and that's the only reason they use that one is because it's the simplest. You can fix that with stuff in your toolbox. You don't have to get a special plug. But yeah, it is prone to, like you say, corrosion.
So honestly, all of our adjustable loaded verticals, this is the same concept. That connector type that's on the Fire Stick there, that's the same thing that's on a Wolf River coil. Ham sticks
It
all
is.
use the same thing. So that connection type that they're using with the I terminal ring and the spade, the open spade connector, that's actually kind of common because that open spade connector goes to the ground or whatever, or the shield. Yeah.
I mean, do you want me to? There's a theoretical difference between a CB radio and a ham radio that is no one explains.
Channelized.
No.
Oh, okay. Go.
Basically, a CB radio shares its internal components between transmission and reception. So if you look at a CB microphone, and you pull that microphone out, you won't hear anything. The receiver is dead. And it's because in the microphone switch, not only do you switch the PTT, but you switch the audio amp from transmit to receive, and vice versa. You share the audio amp. When you're on receive, obviously it's coming out of a speaker. When you go into transmit, your microphone goes into the same amplifier, and then it's fed into the radio. And this is to cheapen the radio build. And this is where this is part of this. Oh, they're only cheap, nasty radios. Because on a ham radio, obviously it has a separate audio amplifier for each purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the basic differences. And this is where the idea that CB radios are cheap junk comes from. Yes, they are cheaper built radios than a ham radio, but that wasn't the purpose for what CB was invented for, was it? It was meant to be communications for the masses. So why have a stupid expensive radio?
Right. Yeah. No, I get it. But yeah, that makes sense now that you say that. No, that's yeah, well said. Yeah, endpoint. That's a good endpoint with a good point. The coax connection on the bottom. Well, anyway, I'll just take the picture. It's easier to just show it on YouTube's there. So that's what you typically use if you're going to do a ham stick or something like that. And Gordon West, big fan of these, right? That plastic grommet is incredibly important. So if you ever run these, make sure you never, ever, ever lose that grommet, because it's actually got a radiused edge and it slots into place, and that's what isolates the shield from the vertical. Or the
Always
center
make
pin.
sure it's on the top.
Yes. Because you're basically preventing the antenna from shorting to the shield.
You don't know how many guys I used to work with would be like, "Hey man, my radio won't talk," and that's the first thing I see, and they put that on the bottom, and it's not proper.
I got my CB SWR meter hooked up, and I just pegged that thing.
When I was in Montana and I actually put that CB in my truck, I didn't have an SWR meter, so I hooked up the G90 and used the frequency sweep to actually tune the antenna and cut it to length.
That's funny.
That's definitely a way to do it.
That is a way to do it.
I'm guessing you would pop the top and remove the fun little transistor. That's definitely not
No, I actually had
obvious.
to
Really?
pull it, like you unwind the wire and you clip it, and then make sure you don't over clip it, because then you got to figure out how to solder and put the cap back on.
No, I'm talking about the G90. There's totally
for
not an arrow pointing
APRS
to
mod?
what you need to remove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. There is one common misconception that I think comes from CB, and that's the what was it, the 13-foot rule for coax? I've heard that a lot. That I've heard.
18 was the normal for a while, yeah.
And you ask, and it's usually the guys that come over from CB that believe that 18 is, you got to have 18 foot of coax, which is not true.
Well, what was funny is when I was first getting big into running amplifiers and stuff, I questioned that, because they're like, "Yeah, you got to have 18 foot," and I'm like, "Well, why do we run 3-foot jumpers then, or 1-foot jumpers between devices?" I'm like, that makes no sense.
Right. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I learned that way back in the day, that as long as it ohms out properly, then it doesn't matter what length it is.
Hey, Dennis is in the house. Appreciate you watching, man. A lot of folks watching on YouTube. A lot of comments on YouTube. Thanks, everybody. It's usually pretty poppin' on the Discord side, which it is today, but a lot of people watching on YouTube, so thanks, everybody, for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't. That would be great. Hardwired, this is a question for SIDEBOOM. How do you learn to talk on CB? I still don't understand what getting down means. I mean... I don't know what getting down means, but with regards to CB, why don't you take that one, SIDEBOOM?
So a lot of CB talk is just lingo that,
it's
you'll
jibba
hear people so you'll hear people be like, bye. Well, that came about because somebody decided to throw that in there. So it's a long time, just a bunch of, guys making up their own stuff, and it becomes popular. Just so like on the radio, we'll call CQDX, but you'll go to different channels and you'll hear these guys talking about, how about it skip land? It's just stuff that they've came up with in their own sense of form. But if you ever get to like channel 6, it's one big
a cacophony of noise.
It's a smack talk fest is all it really is. And I mean, it's just how they have fun. I mean, you'd think some of these guys hate each other the way they talk back and forth to each other, but then, it's just the way it is.
Right. Oddly enough, I feel like there's a loose connection between like meme culture today and the kind of way people use memes to kind of slam people, in a funny way, in a comedic way, and the way like CB is like on 6, right? Like there's this internal lingo that only really people that know what it means. And, this was all obviously CB was in its heyday back before the internet. So that kind of feels like, bit of a counterculture type group, right? And it's fun. I mean, so how do you learn to talk on CB? You listen to CB, and that's how you talk. You learn by listening to what when in Rome, do what the Romans do, right?
There is no right or wrong way.
Yeah.
make it your own flavor.
SIDEBOOM, what would be considered the top of the line CB radio right now?
Oh, we didn't ask that question. Oh, well, this is perfect. We'll do it now. But yeah, go ahead and answer that. and then I'll ask the big one.
955.
Yeah, a lot of people are gonna say the 955. But then that's also, it just depends. Like the 955 will only do 100 watts respectively when you can get other air quotes on export radio.
Well, but what about a radio that'll do AM, FM, and SSB all in one radio?
It's generally the 955 is what everybody's been turning to.
Okay.
It's got a real clean signal. It's it's kind of an SDR because there is a guy that's out there. Oops. There's a guy out there that's making software to kind of control it, if you will, on your PC. So it'll be more or less like an IC 7300.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, there's a guy out there developing a full kit. I'll have to find him and link him, but he's on Facebook and the Striker group.
We need to talk.
How are they selling? Oh, that's a 10-meter radio. So that works
Oh,
on
yeah.
CB.
Well,
Not out of the box.
no. Yeah.
No,
gotta take-
what? So which one you can buy out of the box?
That does
Everything.
well.
A few of the
There's not-
Ranger radios. I think the 99 RCI 99N4 that'll do CB out the box. I think.
There's a few Galaxies, but then they're still your general 5-watt radios.
And the
Don,
presidents, of course.
When you take the radio out of the box, you usually have to like plug in cables, cut a wire. I mean, that's pretty much out of the box, right?
Well, to be honest, the 955, you literally just remove one small resistor, and that's it.
Yeah, that's true of a lot of ham radios. I was thinking of one that like, what's the one that like the idiot that doesn't open radios buys? Not and while I could do that on a Striker easily.
It's the Cobra, right?
Just curious.
Don,
Mm-hmm.
you want a Anytone 5555N or the Anytone 6666. All you need to do is press one button to transfer it from 10 meters to open up for the all bands.
They can't get them in the States.
I got an AT66.
Yes, you can. The AT66.
Yeah, I got it.
6666
All
is
right, let me
available.
rephrase that. COVID.
I just got it. You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah, they're few and far between. There's an Elenco as well.
Oh, I see. Okay.
There's an Elenco as well.
Yeah, well, it's all the same. Comes out the same factory.
Huh.
Yeah, the Quad
Well,
6 excellent radio.
The CRTs, the 60, the Anytones, the Elincos, the CN5s, they're all from the same factory, and the original was Anytone.
What is the Anytone? What's its frequency range? Does it obviously it'll do 11 meters, but what else? It does 10, and then what else? Does it
Just
do
does
12?
10 and 11.
10 and 11. Okay.
The Anytone will do anything. The 6666 will do anything from 25 up to 30.
Oh,
Yeah, it just misses form 12.
interesting. Okay.
I should call HRO and ask them if they'll Mars mod a CB.
Well, the problem is the licensing thing, isn't it? What happens if you do get caught by the FCC? What do you think they're going to take away from you if you're caught with a CB that transmits in 10 meters?
They can take it all away.
No,
Yeah.
they'll take your whole ham license off you.
No, they won't.
Yes, they will.
No, they won't.
Yes, they will. I've had people tell me this in the States. FCC had this problem. Why do you think all the 10-meter linears in America don't exist? It says auxiliary. They ban people from doing single band transmitters. For years, they've only recently reintroduced them.
Well, there are CB shops that like you walk into the back room and they have
Yeah,
a
but
bunch
Don, at the end of the day, they're not
Mhm.
hurting anybody, are they? Right, so they're leaving them
no.
alone. But back in the 90s, you know
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Well,
I
You
know
know
the
what
that,
happened.
yeah.
90s.
Well,
A
hold
lot's
on, hold on.
changed since then.
Hold on.
In the-
Do we have evidence of that happening today?
Not today, no,
Oh,
because
okay,
they don't have
alright.
the manpower now. But
Yeah.
they still could do it. They still
Yeah.
could do if you
And-
if you fudged somebody off enough, they could take your hamlet. I'm not saying it would happen every day,
Right.
but it's a possibility. And are you prepared to risk your thousands of pounds spent on your ham radio hobby on 10 minutes of fun on CB? I don't think it's worth the
So,
risk.
can you explain this to me then? Why does ICOM release the Mars mod for the 7300
That
you can
makes
use on
no
TV?
difference. There is a legitimate reason to have that radio open.
Mhm. And the
Sure.
Mars,
And it's not CB.
Mars is a legal service in the United States, so of course Mars mods are perfectly fine. But
Exactly.
if you use them incorrectly, that's your problem. But the
Exactly. That is
FCC
the
doesn't-
point. That's
yeah.
the point I'm getting at. If you fudge somebody off, what are you prepared to lose? I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's going to happen every day, but if I just spent 10 grand on HF radios and towers and that, and I get caught with, and they really do want to do something, are you prepared to risk that? That's all I'm
But
saying.
there hasn't been a case, any case like that for the last 15 years.
You're right. I'm not arguing with you, but are you prepared to risk it? Because I lost a lot of radio kit due to this. Thank you very
Yeah, but
much.
that was years ago.
Yes,
That was when
it was
Paul
years
Steve
ago
was
when I
working
couldn't
for
afford it.
And
Okay.
by the way,
And did you know about that guy on YouTube that sells bicycles that got told by thingy to stop pressing the CB bit or we will come round and remove your kit, which he didn't admit to, but that's actually what happened.
Okay, I there's context there. I don't know about that. That's okay. Let's bring it back in a little bit. I get where you're coming from, Mike. I'm less worried about that today, but I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, it's an expensive hobby. Are you prepared to shoot yourself in the foot?
I think I'm just gonna let it sit there because I've got thoughts on that. I'm less worried about an Anytone AT6666 personally if you unlock it for CB or whatever. But I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, but the law is the law, isn't it?
I mean,
bloody goody two shoes.
We're in a world where Baofangs, everybody's rocking Baofangs on GMRS, right? So the same argument exists there, right? And that cat is definitely out of the bag.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, let's go back to questions for SIDEBOOM or just CBs in general. If you want to talk about the break and how people do competitive CB, drop a question. We'll read the ones on YouTube, Discord, and then obviously in the voice chat. Go for it. We'd love to hear it.
Hey, Josh, real quick.
Mhm.
The antennas on the back of that truck you guys were talking about.
The short ones with
Those
the
are known as your fighting sticks. Those stay on your truck. The rest of it comes off. They're top loaded and they have a stainless whip on top so that you clear bridges and stuff. So that's why those were shortened with the coil on them.
But do those
they
work as the
top-load.
reflector? Do those work as the reflector against the active element?
The one furthest to the back is the full reflector.
Uh-huh.
The one second from the back is the driven element. Then the rest of them in front are the
Directors.
So even though the directors were longer physically, that's because you had the loops on the top of the fighting
the other
sticks.
ones were actually longer. Yeah,
Got it.
Because
Okay.
what you saw in you saw the top loads, but you couldn't really in the picture. You can't see the stainless whips they have on top.
Oh,
of
so
them.
there's a stainless whip on top of the coil.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that makes perfect sense then. Okay, I was like, I'm
Yeah.
still not seeing it
But
because we
those
were
are
seeing a
their-
big difference. But that makes
Basically,
sense.
just the loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
antenna.
are their fighting sticks, and then when they're actually driving, they'll actually take one of those off too and just run the center one.
That's them cruising around town.
Yeah.
Right
Hitting
on.
bridges.
Well, or try not to hit bridges. But yeah, I hear you. Copy. Okay, quick. All right. Well, thanks for the clarification on that one. Let's see. Man, a lot of people on YouTube. So that was a popular show. Good job, SIDEBOOM.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that were down with that. They were down with your getting down. So good job.
Let's be realistic, man. Everybody secretly wants to get down.
I know, right? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Maybe that's why people are so salty, is because
I I can't wait to see what Dawn's van looks like next year. Now that we've had this show.
Yeah. No, I'm building it out as a camper, and I wouldn't be able to put one of those arms on the front of it.
And the
12
thing about
alternators.
getting down is when you key over everybody else and everybody can hear you,
Yeah.
then you say you got down because you were the, you were the big dog.
You're the big signal out there. Yeah, that makes sense. Right on. Okay. Let's see. Questions for SIDEBOOM, or again, going back to just talking about the CB competitions. We'd love to hear it, and I'm watching YouTube as well. So anybody jump in there.
So I want to get down. I've got a question.
Go for it.
So in that presentation, everything was mobile use. Is there any kind of like base station application for this? Do any CBers like set up some massive like station at their home and just like hook up some jumper cables to their power lines or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me send Josh a video real quick. Hold on. But yes, there are a ton of guys that sit at home and talk on 6 all day long.
Those are those big
Conditions
signals that you
permitting.
just hear all like that just are on top of you no matter what you're doing. That's what I've seen on
Well,
CB.
Yeah. There are
basically, most of those guys will cover channel 2 through channel 8.
and there's a bunch of them running skip too, right?
Yeah, and that's what I
SIDEBOOM.
used to do. Is I used to chase the skip with a lot of guys on like I said, the main channels are like 17, 28, 38, or where you're gonna find a lot of guys just chatting, talking skip unless conditions are really good, and then they kind of become like a channel 6 atmosphere.
Well, I bought a 10-meter Moxon, right? And I just thought, well, let me go look at a video on the thing.
Mhm.
And the only videos I could find were the guys that were running them on CBs, because out of the box, they tell you how to build it for 10 meters, or sorry, 11 meters. So it's apparently quite a thing to put a beam on your house in the CB world, not only running an amplifier, because back in the 70s when I was in it, one of the guys that I was around, because I was about 16, 17, and they would take me over to their houses, and all of them had these huge, big amplifiers. And I just thought, wow, and it's really one of the things that just interested me, because I was into DX, or that was one of the things I always wanted to do in radio. So I never could afford, all of that equipment those guys had, but there were plenty of them that they showed it off quite regularly.
Mm-hmm.
I run a set of Moxons on 11 meters, actually. I have them boxed vertically. And yeah, it's a great little antenna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it works well for me on 10 meters.
Catching
Some
up
of
on
these
the
guys will
trends.
have 100-foot long beams that are, 15 elements long, massive, just the biggest things you ever seen hanging off a tower, and anywhere between 10 to 100,000 watts, and they have 400 amp services to their house just for their amplifiers. I know it's silly. Water cooled, 4,000 watt or 40,000 watt tubes.
So you're saying they put Whiskey 2 Radio Echo to shame.
Oh, there are some setups you would not believe that are just so high tech and gorgeous and just solid, nitrogen injected lines going
Oh my
out. I
God.
mean, just insane stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically home use stuff is whole nother topic on itself.
Right. I mean, that you hinted at Sir Mix-a-Lot, right? So he would be a home use guy too, right?
And one of the questions I asked early on is, and because when I saw it back in the 80s or 70s, it was more tube amps. But I was wondering, are these guys preferring tube amps or LD Moss amps?
You got a lot of tube guys, but then like Prime Minister Sir Mix-a-Lot, he's really big into LD Moss. And you can find some videos on his and the amps that he builds. If you look up Skullcracker, I'll find the link and I'll drop it in chat in a minute. But he's real big into the LD Moss stuff.
So there's a question from Alan. They ask, can you recommend a 10-meter single sideband only radio for ham radio? We just mentioned one, the Anytone AT6666. I have one behind me. I'm actually part of the way through 2 videos on that, talking about 1, 10 meters and why technicians need to get on it ASAP, and that radio specifically. It's not some glamorous radio at all, but I think it's like under $300. It's 10 meter only, and yeah, you can do something to make it do CB as well. 11 meters specifically is what we're talking about. I have no complaints with the radio for the price specifically. In fact, I'll grab an Amazon link and drop it for you guys.
Yeah, SIDEBOOM, the Super Bowl channel.
Yeah, channel 6. 27025.
Yeah, I just saw that, and I was trying to find Prime Minister's radio, but yeah, that I ran across the Super Bowl channel. I'm like, what?
Doesn't he use an Anan or something, if I remember rightly?
That's what I'm thinking, because like my Anan, all I've got to do is check a box in the software, and it's basically opened up, because they're built in India from an Australian design. In fact, the company's in Australia, but they don't really, I don't even know if they have FCC approval for them, but they're still probably one of the best made SDR radios out there.
Isn't 6 at the smack like bottom of the band? That's why they use it, so they get, as much oomph out. Frequency wise is what I'm saying.
I don't know the answer. SIDEBOOM, do you know?
No, I don't. Off the top of my head.
Got down.
No,
So
it was just the popular frequency back in the day where everybody used to go to talk crap.
Yeah,
And
there you go.
So I just linked a video of Motor Mouth's small hand designed beam for just 6 meters. It's been a fun project watching him continuously design and do different things with this. Just like a couple of weeks ago, he didn't have a rotator that worked, so he literally hooked rope up to it. If he wanted to turn more to the west, he would pull one rope. If he wanted to go back to the east, he'd pull another, and it was the greatest thing. I was in tears laughing watching him do this.
I thought that was the HRCC Discord, the place to go to talk crap.
Well, only in the after chat, or the not the after chat, the off topic chat on the top band. There's a question in looks like Twitch from Linux Guy, and he's asking, define Freebanders. Freebanders. Who wants to jump on that one?
That's an easy one. That's the frequencies in between 11 meters and 10 meters.
There you go.
Or below. Yeah.
So a couple of
Those are the
radios.
people that are getting busted. Those are the only ones that are actually getting busted by the FCC.
Right. So that Striker radio, for instance, is a 10-meter radio that you can run on 11 meters. Well, if it does 11 meters and it does 10 meters, and you're opening up for frequency agility, well, you got a little space in between there, which is
it'll do 12 meters too.
Not legal.
I was gonna
Some will.
say some will do.
Well,
no, the
but
Strikers do.
The point was the space between 11 and 10.
It's very popular in Europe to transmit on the band above 27405, which is channel 40, and where the UK FM starts on 276,125, and that's like the little. There's about 16 channels there of sideband only comms, which is where you're on about, and that's where they caught me.
Wow.
They caught you?
They caught me.
2755 is the world calling frequency where everybody gets busted.
That's 555. 27555.
I hate to say it, I haven't been on 11 meters in 30 years.
I know that.
I would just like to point out that Ferris dropped a link to Sir Mix-a-Lot's 40 kilowatt dead key.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
Here's Sir Mix-a-Lot's direct YouTube channel for Skullcracker. There's a few different
That is
videos.
amazing.
There's some water gates that he's produced, but then down some of the earlier videos, he just talks about, you know, the LD Moss stuff and Antenna Talked. A couple of different videos that are pretty amazing. But you got to remember, not only did he produce music, but he built his own amplifiers and antennas in a match set to ship out to people. So, fun fact for that.
Yeah, and check out the video of him showing what he calls the pump house, which is where the amplifiers that he used to live. And it's there are, you know, it looks like a nice clean room with two really big black boxes.
Yeah.
Well, those two really big black boxes are water cooled 40,000s in there.
I've seen it tickle
40,000.
Two of them.
I've seen it tickle 60K, and so can you if you find the right video.
Oh, if he showed you forward swing and he wasn't showing you a RMS meter, you'd see it go over 100.
My local AM station, which is a pretty strong station, is 50 kW. So just put that into perspective for you.
Mr. BBI also did a video walkthrough and stuff with Mr. Motormouth Mall. He runs an old AM station that's been converted over to CB. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, on his channel, those are all screens off of SDR Thetis, which generally is you're going to find that on a Anon radio or an Apache
There's
Lab.
actually a video where he shows the Anon too.
Oh, okay.
It's like I think Motormouth Mall uses a Flex on receive, but he still uses the Cobra as his transmitter.
Dude, he's got so much stuff. I
love it.
mean, it's like, it's what does he want to play with today?
Mm-hmm.
Did you shout out BBI going around interviewing all the blokes?
Oh, yeah, a lot of people dropped his name on the first YouTube stream, and yeah, BBI.
Because those watching all of those interviews are really good.
Pretty
he did
impressive stuff. Pretty fun.
He did an excellent interview with the owners of Firestick.
Oh, that's cool.
That was a very interesting interview on how CB antennas have changed over the years.
So, if you want to get good knowledge on amp reviews and rebuilds and tips and tricks on a specific model, watch the BBI stuff. Yeah. Because he goes through, I mean, he's not just, purpose built, 8 pills or whatever. He does, the old SB220 rebuilds and everything under the sun. Tokyo Power. Or not,
He
not
modifies
Tokyo.
RM Italy's.
Yes. To make them actually not splatterbox.
Make them actually work properly too.
He did a whole series just on his 12-volt setup on his bench, which was really awesome.
Oh, I remember watching that video. That was a good video. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a...
Go ahead, so carry on, Don.
I can't remember if it was 600 or 1,000 amps he has just readily available right there.
That's impressive.
He's got 2 big batteries plus a couple of super capacitors.
I think it's more than a couple, Tom.
Yeah, well, a couple,
Yeah, so Liberty Cave is asking for a clarification on the key down contest. He says, it was asked in the first of the show but not answered. How long do they key down in those competitions? It's one thing to run 50 kW for 30 seconds and another to run it 24 hours a day. Well, we did answer that. We did. You generally said the high point was a minute, right? But do you want to add some clarification points on that?
Just enough to get food warm?
Yeah. But and like there's... I've seen the rules change from comp to comp. But like I said, it's usually 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute, somewhere in that realm that they'll key down. Because if you need longer than that, they usually just run it back,
What does run it back mean? Do it again?
Yeah, do it again.
Single sideband or like
AM?
AM.
AM, baby. Which, they're not DXing, right? The station is literally, not that far away from them. Also,
I'd
I
like
think there
to
was a
see
lot of
how
people
many-
saying that the S single sideband CBs drift. Is that true? They got drift still?
Yeah, yeah.
I think they've improved a lot. With more modern ones have improved a lot, but the old school ones used to drift a bit.
I mean, you'd hope they do because it's channelized. There's not a lot of futzing they can do with it, right?
They were even the synthesized ones, the ones in the in the 80s and 90s. They were pretty cheaply made in comparison to a ham radio. So yeah, you used to find that there was two different flavors of boards. One was the Uniden, and one was the Japanese make, and they used to drift in different directions. So you'd have great fun you'd have a RIT and an XIT, and you'd have great fun drifting about trying to zero in each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and most of the drift is caused by cheap voltage regulators. As they heat up, you would start drifting off, and then when you unkey, it would come back, and people would open up the CB so they could slide their transmission, And when you do that, it gets unstable. The 8 volts go into it, gets unstable, and you start moving around. And so it was pretty sloppy.
You get a free voltage controlled oscillator.
Well, sorry, Don. Sorry,
really quick. I got to do the YouTube thing too. So everybody watching, I have a Christmas tradition with my wife. We call it Wrap-A-Palooza. It's the night we get together and we do all the wrapping, and it's tonight. So I do have to wrap things up at 8 o'clock, so 40 minutes from now. We watch 2 movies, generally, sometimes more. Always have to watch Love Actually. That's Leia's movie, and we watch Die Hard. So there you go.
And
now a real Christmas movie there.
Right, not Love Actually, not that garbage Christmas movie. I'm actually okay with Love Actually. I know a lot of people crap on it, but with that said, I do want to say hello to some of the other fine YouTubers that are in the house here. So let's go down. We've got a good number of people in the Discord after chat. Appreciate you guys. Let's check in with our buddy. I said YouTubers, but we are an inclusive group here, and we have a TikToker in our house. So Evan, what's going on, man? You on mic?
Hey, I was listening on my phone. Sorry about that. How is everyone?
Good. What have you been up to?
Good.
Hey, not too much. So let's see. We'll give you a quick update. So I decided to do the internet clout thing. Now, I bought the Flipper Zero because I wanted to play with it after watching your explanation of it months ago, right?
Uh-huh.
And since I spent the money, I'm like, I'll do a couple videos on this stupid thing. And it blew up.
Yeah.
It absolutely blew up. And then I actually live streamed the Ham Radio Crash Course Net last night, which also had an excellent turnout. I think I had about 200 people viewing at one point, and about 7 people that were watching the stream and had never checked into the net before checked in because they wanted to hear how they sounded through the TikTok. So
that's fantastic. Speaking of that, I will have a Flipper Zero video posted probably Monday or Tuesday next week.
Excellent.
I think I have a problem with mine, though. I don't know if we have the time to get into it, but I swear it reads raw, but it won't read this remote that I have. It just will not work with it. I can see it in the frequency analyzer. It's really pissing me off.
What type of well, maybe you and I can hop into an offline convo about that. Yeah. I would be interested to hear more about what it's been doing. But anyway, I'm really thankful to see some growth on that platform. Before they ban it completely. I'm up about 3,000 followers in the last 40 days or so. So that's been pretty fun, and I appreciate the shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a custom. Well, I have one of the other firmwares on mine, and it still doesn't work with this stupid remote. So I got to figure that out. But it's super cool for the NFT tags, and the infrared remote on it. I think is like literally one of the best remotes you can get. They're really, really strong. Really strong.
Yeah. So I went into Walmart late at night one evening when I wasn't going to be causing too much mayhem, and did try out the IR blaster, and I was able to knock out about 7 or 8 TVs. And I didn't even let it run the full cycle, right? Because it takes almost a whole minute to send all the universal codes. I let it run for about 20 to 30 seconds just to see what happened, and about 7 or 8 TVs shut themselves off. I thought I'd get like 2, and I was like, oh crap. And then I canceled out of it. I'm like, I'm not trying to make these employees' jobs too hard here during the
Right,
holidays,
right.
but I did want to see what kind of range and utility I could expect, right? So it's a fun tool, and I'd be happy to talk with you more about yours, see if we can figure out what's going on.
Well, I figure this is just a good reason for me to break out the black one, right? Just to be super flex.
100%. You're going to take the minty fresh screen protector off of that museum piece.
It's sitting right here. There it is. It's sitting right here. There's my regular one, and there's the black one. And yes, thanks for the correction on NFC.
Nerd flex.
Why am I imagining in the future, Florida man uses flipper to turn off TVs in bar during like some major soccer game or something?
Florida man uses Flipper Zero to cut power to a municipal building, to which they then steal the copper out of.
Can you do more than turn off? Can you turn them on or
you
change
can
the
copy
channel?
any? You just have to point them at each other and copy the signal. If it's a new remote, there's a lot of preloaded remotes where it just knows how to use them.
Yeah, so Don, it'll do like the on and off functions. What you can do is you can hit the universal remote function, and it will basically brute force. It will send every single code that exists. It takes about 40 seconds or so to send every single one of them. But you could repeat that same cycle and turn them back on, but you got to wait for it to run all the way through the cycle, because your other option is to basically clone a remote, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I did with it that I'm debating if I'll do a video on or not, but I did also clone my garage door opener. I had to do Rogue Master to do that, to unblock 390 megahertz, but it did work.
It doesn't do the rolling keys though, does it?
I've done it 8 or 9 times in 6.
Really? Uh-oh. FCC got him.
I didn't really buy it with security in mind. I was looking for horsepower per dollar because I have a very heavy garage door. So maybe mine is not rolling, but it works quite well.
Let's not lie. He wants to do the rolling garage, or he wants to do the rolling code so he can shut his neighbor's car alarm off when it goes off in the middle of the night. I know what you're up to.
Another one.
2 meters with sideband is very good at that too.
Well, it'd be neat if it not only did. I mean, I used to have a remote that the way that you programmed it was you hit a button and it began to cycle through all the things, and when it hit one, it would turn it off, and then it would say, "Okay, that was a Motorola da 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 da. So, do you want to try this? Hit the power on button now." And then try changing channels, and you would do that, and it would go, "Oh, okay, well that's definitely a." So that thing's been around, or that kind of technology has been around for years. But what would be neat is if the flipper could do not only that, but then randomly set or change channels to just random channels, or randomly go in and power on, power off, because that would be great to do in a bar.
So Minarchus Trucker,
you can do it.
Minarchus Trucker, thank you so much for the super chat.
I know him. He's got a flipper.
yeah, he was commenting on that. He mentions that he picked up the Wi-Fi board, which I did as well, and I haven't done much with it yet. So I
have it sitting here. I haven't done anything with it yet. I just have not had a chance.
You got to put the Marauder firmware on it.
I was gonna say, what do you do with it? You just do Wi-Fi deauth, or can you actually
that GitHub I DM'd you the other day.
Oh, that's what that was for?
That's what it's for, yeah. But some guys made another board that's got more shit on it.
Okay. I like it. Yeah, I can't I like this a whole lot, but it's definitely not for everybody. Let's just say that. Like, most people don't need this thing. They just don't.
I agree. It is a toy. It's a toy/tool.
Yeah.
But more toy for RF and pen testing nerds is what it is.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
As endpoint, I am doing endpoint things right now. And what that means is buying the flipper, as it's almost $200 or more if you buy it on Amazon right now. I'm not leaving that in a bar. So just found some ESP8266 code, and I know they make the little baby ones that are like less than $1 a piece. Little, IR LED and a small battery pack. Yeah, we can make them really, really small and just leave them in bars, Cycle through every code. They'll never find them, right?
Right.
No,
That's like that.
Well, you don't have to leave it. I mean, the idea is you just, while you're sitting there, you have a little bit of fun and you put the thing back in your pocket, right? It only takes about 40 seconds to send all the codes.
Yeah, but it's on you. But if you stick it under a random table somewhere and leave it, and it goes off through a cron job, yeah.
Yeah, you just do it during the Super Bowl.
God.
In chat is the code base for that. So if anybody wants to do that, have fun at it.
There you go.
Of course, if it's infrared, you could find it with your cell phone camera.
Well, if it's hidden,
If
you were looking at those, would you wait for the Flipper 1 to come out, or go for the Flipper 0?
Possibly wait for the Flipper 1, but I assume they're going to have just as many problems with sourcing materials as the Flipper 0. The Flipper 1 adds basically it puts the Wi-Fi dev board into the body of the Flipper. That's the big upgrade from what I saw. It adds the Wi-Fi capability because this is frequency locked. The upper side is 900 megahertz. It's all sub gigahertz. That's another good point. Quana says Flipper 1 is likely several years away. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
take that.
It's a good way off before probably even the first batch could be expected. I think it also will run. It's supposed to run Kali Linux, from what I understood.
Oh, really?
Kali or other variants?
That was my understanding. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be sweet. But if you're interested in playing with it now, I mean, the 0 is $170. I mean, that's not cheap, but it's not exorbitant, right? So if you're interested in playing now, just pick one up and noodle around with it because you're probably 2 years away from getting the other one.
They're kind of impossible to get, though. That's the downside.
The zeros
coming in stock every month.
Josh, they've been in stock once a week since mid-November, but they're only up for a day or two, at a time.
They'll be in stock on Monday, they said.
Oh,
Amazon shows them in stock right now.
Yeah, but that's those are
Amazon's
like
for double the
more
price
money.
almost.
Yeah, that's resellers, so they're charging more.
So the Flipper, does it have the RF portion inside?
Yes.
Or is it a breakout? Okay.
Yes.
So I wonder when someone's gonna port Meshtastic over to it.
Oh, people were already in the chat saying they were playing around with LoRa boards with it because it does 915 megahertz.
Yeah, but I mean, what about Meshtastic? Because that'd be a really.
Oh,
cool
I see what
device
you're saying.
Overall.
It's not good performance. The antenna is a coil antenna that's inside the body of it. It doesn't have an external antenna port, which that hypothetically would be a fun little mod if somebody were so inclined to do that.
Josh, I have to ask though, when you were using that Flipper in that little short video, what were you actually doing to that car you were driving by?
I was transmitting from the Flipper the over RF the code to open the charge door on the Tesla.
Oh, okay. So not unlocking the car.
No.
Because if you're unlocking cars with that thing, I'm going to start freaking out.
Okay, well, hypothetically you can, but it's rolling code. So it doesn't hypothetically do rolling codes. I haven't seen a true example of that. What you can do, though, is you literally take your little dongle and walk really far away from your car, record the signal on the Flipper, go back to the car, and then use the Flipper to unlock it. And that's one shot. It's a one bullet shot on that one, and then you got to do it again.
Well, the one that was scaring me was David Bumble's video on cloning credit cards.
You could do that.
Yeah,
now
that's
that you
what
can
I was
do.
thinking too.
Again, so this is an NFC tag right here, right? So this little guy right here, and if I grab my Flipper, let me put it on NFC. So I'm gonna set this to read. So it wants me to put it on top of it, and it just does it. So you can do this with credit cards. Then that's exactly what this will do. And there's people that will take their hotel room keys and stuff like that, and they'll use the Flipper to clone it.
I can tell you this: if anybody knows how your general Sam's Club is set up, usually they'll have a mobile provider booth in the middle as you're walking by the electronics. The Flipper 0 will turn a TV off on the mobile kiosk 4 aisles away.
Yeah, it's a very powerful IR blaster. Very powerful. I'm constantly impressed when I screw around with this thing.
If you want to see the
Mhm.
the technician on site go insane, it's a very funny toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of cool things that it does. Oh, bad USB too. It has a bad USB feature, which is
The
great.
one thing that I've been talking on
Oh,
the
yeah.
forums and stuff about is making it a receive only APRS device.
It is in the frequency space that it would work in. But okay, remember it's frequency locked. The firmware does lock out frequencies, and you've got to do what Evan did to do the Mars mod on it, if you will.
Can't receive.
You can't even select the frequencies.
HRO?
Yeah, if you send it into HRO and get it. No, it's a programmable thing. You can change it.
I know, I'm just messing.
It doesn't do 2 meters. You're right. It would do 70 centimeters though.
Well, yeah, but APRS is all done on
Right.
2 meters.
So Minarchus Trucker's correct. You'd probably use a hack RF for APRS. This is kind of like a Leatherman, is what it feels like. It's a fun little RF and little gadgety Leatherman type device. It's a device that fits in your pocket and it's got a lot of tools. It is really cool, but it's really not for everybody.
Yes, Liberty. I know you can do APRS on any frequency, but there's an official APRS frequency that people use.
Right.
I mean, yes, I
Oh,
could do
weather
APRS on the hack RF, but I mean, it's a little bit daunting to put in your pocket compared to the flipper.
If I put my flipper on a balloon, I could open up the charge doors on all the Teslas.
Jeez. No, I'm saying is weather balloons is 401 megahertz. So yeah. You decode Sandi.
All right, let's go to the next YouTuber so I don't run out of time here. Scott, ham radio for non-techies. What's going on, man?
Hey, Josh. Just want to say a great show tonight. I only caught the last half of it. SIDEBOOM did a great presentation for what I did see, though. It's always fascinating, but I'm not really very... my experience with CB begins and ends with Smoking the Bandit. I did a show this week, actually, on how to send a text through APRS, and we did a real-time sending and receiving of a text. So I think I did a pretty good job of explaining that, and had a couple people try it out and get back to me. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Somebody had a question though. They said some guy from Australia is like, if I'm out if I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I got no one around me for 1,000 miles, will APRS work? It's like, I don't think it will.
Well, if somebody
It
hears
can.
you,
The big
if they
Yagi
hear
it
you.
might.
Yeah.
It can if there's VHF tropospheric ducting.
So
in the middle of Australia, we use HF APRS.
Yeah, there you go. Put up your NVIS antenna and get to work.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, thanks for joining us out there. Feel free to dive in. And of course, guys, you guys can all hang out here once I leave, but I do have to leave in 30 or so minutes here. So who's next? Hey, Adam's in the house. What's up, Adam? What have you been up to?
I have been up to SAR training.
Oh,
Training
buddy.
all day today, and heading out to do some local rock hounding tomorrow. So no radio stuff for me this weekend. Just looking forward to the holiday break. Hoping to get out and play on some mountaintops in the near future. If anybody didn't catch it, I put out a new 3D printed paddle on printables. And it seems to be pretty popular. It's very cheap to make and performs really well. So if anybody has a 3D printer and they're looking for a cheap Morse code paddle, go check it out. It's a great one.
Indeed, I got to print that up. You've got a bunch of print projects that I've been like slacking on. I've got to do the knob for the True SDX. There's a cover you made that I need to do for one of the radios. I don't even remember which one anymore. You got a whole bunch of stuff I got to print. So
yes, indeed.
Yeah. Adam, did you see Kevin's 3D print paddles?
I did, and it's going to have a lot of the same problems as most of the other 3D printed paddles. Just mushy, poor feel. It's the way the contacts work. You've got the end of a screw hitting the threaded side of a threaded screw, and you just don't get a good consistent contact point. And this new paddle I created, it's very simple hardware. You need 4 M3 by 4 millimeter set screws. You need 1 M3 by 4 millimeter machine screw with a round head. and the headphone jack. That's a panel mount tip ring sleeve headphone jack, and then a couple real short pieces of real thin gauge wire, and that's it. Yeah, the rest is just 3D printed stuff. And it's got adjustable tension and adjustable throw.
Ooh.
It's nice and small.
Wow.
And you can set the throw down to like a small fraction of a millimeter, and it still works great. So it's pretty freaking awesome. For $3 in parts, it's a pretty incredible little Morse code paddle.
Great.
That is cool. All right, I got a question. Let me pop over here for a second. I'll show you. Somebody asked which HF radio do you use the most often in the shack? And I use this radio. It's the 7610. The ICOM 7610 is what I use the most. It is it's a real good radio. I don't know what else to say. I really like it. so
you want to call it appreciable radio.
Yeah, no, I mean it's expensive. It's real expensive.
Evan, I'm installing TikTok just to follow you.
Tom, that's very sweet of you, man. I appreciate that.
This better be worth the CCP knowing what's on my phone.
Yeah. I'll use my wife's phone to watch it. She has TikTok. I won't put it on my phone.
Yeah, you should see all the crap that comes off your phone just from the applications they force install on there.
I catch Evan's crumlets on Instagram.
You guys still use phones?
Crumlets. I like that.
We still use phones.
I do want to say I would literally post every single thing. I would cross post to Reels. However, there's a time limit. It's 1 minute on Reels. TikTok, you can go to 10 minutes, and I'm long-winded as hell.
Yeah.
So
YouTube.
There's a question from Tan Hat, and we didn't answer this specific question. Please forgive the question, but was there any discussion on a recommended basic CB radio? So we mentioned the Striker. I mean, there's still that Anytone AT6666. That'll do CB.
There's some basics, Josh.
There's some caveats to that. Would you say the Cobra? That's super.
Yeah, the Cobra, the 2529 is going to be your basic radio for the legal portion of things. I actually have that handheld size Radio Oddity CB.
Oh yeah.
And that thing is amazing.
It's really cool, but obviously it's probably not the best performer. The antenna's not great. I mean, the rubber duck. In fact, I got to do a video on that too.
No. It's the handheld sized. It's a full you plug in a regular coax to it
and just hold it.
No.
Was it like everything in the microphone?
Hold on, I'm gonna find out the rate.
You're talking about the one I did a review on, right? What am I thinking of? I'm talking about the handheld.
No, I'm talking. This is a mount. It's the Radio Oddity CB27.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's just the right amount of power to run.
There we go.
To run into your LD Moss amp.
Yeah, and it is an AM/FM radio. It does both sides of the spectrum now.
Did they ever designate where FM was supposed to be, or is it just free for all?
I thought it was
the
just
same
free.
channel allocation as the normal 40. It's just you put it on FM instead of AM.
Yeah, so it's free. It's free for all.
Yeah, which means that you're gonna have somebody who's on there doing AM, and
That's it. Those walkie-talkies I reviewed do AM, FM, and single sideband. It does FM.
Is the channel spacing far enough apart that the FM doesn't step on adjacent AM channels?
No, the channels are the channels. You just change your modulation mode. It's just like if you were doing AM on ham radio. You just
Yeah, they probably should have recommended that FM be in the
on average, FM is set to 1.5 kilohertz for a CB. At that channel spacing.
But it's still right on top of the AM section, right?
Oh, it's on the same channels. Yeah. I mean, but the deviation set by the factory is usually pretty standard, and they don't allow you to change it as a user.
Right, I thought it was a lot bigger than that. That's my bad.
Yeah,
and if you mod an 891, can you do FM on 27 megahertz?
Well, why not?
No comment.
Do FM on top band if you want, John.
Well, is it
I
set
could
to
do
the
I
right?
could do FM on 20 meters if I want to. It's not legal.
No. The thing is, though, if you do it on 11 meters, is the restriction that Mike just talked about the same on an 891 as it would be on a regular CB radio?
No, I think the because amateur radios, the channels allocated for 10 meters FM is slightly wider than CB. I think the modulation's slightly wider, but it's not by much.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, so it's a wide versus narrow type FM?
Yeah, it's usually about It's usually about 2.5 kilohertz on 10 FM.
I have to see.
I thought it was less than that.
No, it's between 1.5 and 2.5, I believe.
1.5 kilohertz deviation sounds fucking crap.
Well, it works, but it's not great.
YouTube.
Language, Timothy.
French sticks crap.
Yeah, there's some President radios also that are readily available in America that are pretty basic and nice.
So basically, like your Midlands, your Cobras, your Galaxies, the Presidents are nice and cheap. But the more money you get, more features.
Yeah, just go down to the local TA truck stop and just walk up to the counter, slip 100, maybe 200, and say you want the best radio on the block.
They got lots.
That's probably a 959.
So.
Yeah, Galaxy.
That's like $400 though.
I know there's a bloke on YouTube. He was putting like 400 watt finals in the back of a 955.
Speaking SIDEBOOM, what's the average cost of a 955?
If I'm not mistaken, a 955 usually goes for a couple hundred. I was about to say pounds, a couple $100.
I thought they were around 500 to 600 or so.
I thought they were a couple of hundred pounds.
I mean, there are some Galaxies that have like a bigger final set in them, but I don't think it's a 959.
Yeah, the 955 on
Amazon.
Yeah, it's 420.
Well, you could put like a 2-pill.
It's not worth that much money. I mean, the 959 is a good radio, but it's not like if I was going to spend that much money on one, I would go and get a Stryker SR955 that'll actually do 100 watts.
That's what I was talking about.
But the 949 and the 959, like the big thing about those is that they do sideband.
Yes. What about the good Quad 5 or the good old Quad 6?
I mean, those are good too. Those were discussed earlier.
At $300 to $400, I mean, God, you're not that far away from an 891.
So,
Quad 6 will do 100 watts, though.
Or hell, for that matter, just mod a G90.
If you really want to flex your muscles, you just go buy you one of those Galaxy DX 98 VHPs.
I know someone running a G90 as a CB.
So SIDEBOOM, that radio, that SR955 HP.
Yes.
I was in Montana, and it was summertime, and I went to a garage sale. Guess what they sold it to me for?
$20.
$12.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Nice.
What the fuck?
You want the money back?
Get your money back. So there's a question. I think we got through all the YouTubers in the house, right? Did I miss anybody? Am I looking?
SIDEBOOM.
That's true. SIDEBOOM's. He was literally on the channel though. But SIDEBOOM, do you want to mention anything, man?
I need to stop being lazy and actually produce some videos.
There you go.
I've got hours and hours of stuff recorded. I just have yet to chunk it together.
I am definitely
videos of the truck.
I do have a lot of hours shot on putting together my new Suburban, aka Hamforce 1, doing a full power install.
Shit.
Hamforce 1. There it is. T-shirt.
Yeah.
That is a good name for a mobile setup for sure.
Registered and trademarked. Don't tread on me.
So DD Radio is asking on the YouTube side, they got an FT8 question. I reply to FT8 CQs on the same frequency. However, why do most of the replies to my FT8 calls calls are on a different frequency than the one I'm calling on. That's just because people try to, well, I'll go back over here. Boop, boop. So hold on, my radio's decided to pop up there. Let's get rid of him. So the waterfall here on the lower side, right? All these little dashes, those are other people's signals. And we all try to put ourselves like we're parking cars in a parking lot in a spot where nobody else is, right? So somebody's on my frequency right now because I'm trying to work a QSO with them, but I'm lined up on 1450 hertz off of the main frequency. And so other people replying to me can either reply directly on my frequency or they could reply somewhere else. But I'm listening to that whole frequency space. So I know that if they're calling me, I'll see it in the red decode field. So it's just a matter of like either one, your radio can operate split like mine is. That's why I can kind of bounce back and forth on where I'm listening and receiving. Or you can have it just transmit on the same frequency you click on. And that's facilitated via this little checkbox. It says hold TX frequency right there. That's how you do it.
The other thing is you're sharing, when you're not transmitting, you're sharing that other side with another person potentially.
Potentially, but that doesn't work. That doesn't work if somebody comes to your frequency to reply to you, because now they're fighting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're transmitting when they're trying to listen to somebody else and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly a problem with field day because everybody will just be on top of each other, and when you're not using that spectrum
on FTA on field day, you're lucky from the West Coast to get anywhere east of like Kansas.
That's a good point too.
I actually have a ham radio question.
Yeah, really quick, let me hit the Liberty Cave mention here. One should always hold TX frequency, stay off of my frequency. That's probably a good call. But yeah, go ahead. What's the question?
Actually, I have a question. So, how do I make APRS IS32 send messages over RF?
What is IS32? I don't know what that is.
It's a Windows app that allows you to.
That's that program, the old-looking one.
Oh. Plug the sound card into the radio. Plug it into your HT.
Well, I click send messages, but it doesn't actually send it into sound modem.
No, so, I think that only supports over internet, so it would have to be connected to a.
Oh, boo! That's worthless.
It's APRS
I need
over
to find a new
IS.
program.
Boo earns.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we hear you. Oh, hey Shanks, you were on the YouTube chat. Hey man, thanks for joining us out here.
Yeah. I had to hop in after hearing all the CB talk. So I was like, man, I've owned literally all these radios at some point.
Right on. Well, do you have a recommendation for somebody that's like, well, let's go with just a simple radio that people may want to play around with if they're getting into it, and then kind of like, what's the quote unquote top of the line from your point of view?
I mean, it really just depends on if you want sideband or something or not, if you're just wanting to dabble in CB. If you don't care about sideband and you just want something to throw in your car and see what's on and, talk to people that are nearby, you really can't go wrong with just any Cobra. I mean, I've had some of the Philippine models, which are like the ones that people say, oh, this is back before they switched over to a junky company and all that. And I mean, you can get one of those for like $100, the Philippine ones that people act like are rare and hard to come across or something. But I've had some of those and they work really well. I mean, I personally have a Stryker 955, which I got to send it off because the mic jack fried in it. And I only had it like 2 days before that happened. I was really sad. But and then I have a Connex 4600 turbo for my semi truck. But I've ran with Unidins and Cobras because I got something cheap when I first started trucking. If you want something that's really easy to just throw into whatever vehicle, my favorite are like the President Bill FCCs, and I think they even have one that's like a President Adam or something that's a little bit bigger, but it's still only like the size of a couple decks of cards. But I mean, like if you only care about following the rules and running legal power limits, I mean that's the perfect radio that I would just recommend to somebody who doesn't want any of the frills and just wants a working good CB radio, because they have like a bunch of nice features like weather band and stuff if you care about listening to that, and you can change the LCD color display. If you're one of those people that likes to color match stuff, I kind of am. That's why I run my Striker, because I can change the color to red and it matches the rest of the stuff in my car. But those President radios, those are always usually my go-to recommendation, because like stock, they're just really good. I mean, I've never had problems with any of the Presidents that I've ran before.
I have, what is it, the Uniden Bearcat 980 SSB or 990 SSB, the one that's like part scanner. That's got like a lot of cool features in it, but I don't know, it's kind of expensive. My favorite President though is the President Camacho. That's the best President.
I have an update real fast about a question.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
All right, so APRS IS32, the app.
Okay.
To enable RF mode, you're going to click on Configure, go all the way down to Ports, hit New Port, and then you're going to select the type of connection you want. More than likely, it's going to be AGW or KISS interface, and you're still going to need a piece of software to do that. So like Direwolf would probably be used for this. So you just select the one you want, get Direwolf on there, get it configured to be an APRS device, and then send that out through your radio. Hope that helps.
Yeah, I've already configured all of that, but it still doesn't send. Well, when I send messages, it doesn't actually send it to the sound modem. It tries to send it over the internet, which I've disabled. So, don't know.
You probably got some weird setting going on then. What's the handheld President? Is that the McKinley that came out like last year?
You're thinking of the President Randy. We have the crappier
that's right, the
version.
Randy.
Yeah, I was actually going to hop on and actually recommend that one, because it has like a 12-volt adapter that you can plug it into a cigarette lighter, and it comes with an antenna adapter so that you can screw it in and screw it into a mag mount antenna or something. So it's really good for like if you even want to have a backup CB, you can hand it off to somebody who doesn't have like, you know, doesn't want to mount their own CB, but like if you're running in a little mini convoy going traveling or something, you can just hand it off to somebody and, you know, carry a cheap mag mount little Will antenna. Like I did that with some of my friends. I handed my President Randy off to somebody and let them just throw on a mag mount in their vehicle, and then they had a CB ready to go, and they didn't have to like sit there and mess with stuff, and it's not super intimidating. The UK, I think, actually has the better version, because we have what's there, like, because the United States one, they run different, because the first President Randy was like one of those brick CBs, like the 80s cell phones, and their President Randy, I think 2 is like I think their President Randy 1 is R2. And theirs, because the frequencies, I think, in the UK for CB are a little different, theirs actually can run up to 12 watts if you plug it into the cigarette port adapter versus 4 that the handheld will use. So it does 4 in the handheld configuration, but if you plug in an antenna and the cigarette adapter, it'll bump it up to 12 watts. And so, you know, you can, it's a lot more, I don't know the word, but like,
is really quite a
usable for different stuff like that, because you know you can do the same thing I was talking about but push out a whole 12 watts out of a little handheld. And I think you can even desolder a chip and unlock it. So like what we usually do with a lot of our export radios in the CB world here, you can unlock to go on different frequencies and stuff too. So I think it'll even do a little bit of our 10 meter. I might be wrong on that, but it does have like a frequency counter on it, and you can switch through different bands on the UK one. I thought about ordering one just to check it out in the US. Because you can have it shipped over eBay or something, but it was expensive to do that. It was like $200 for like what's normally like $130 radio.
So I was gonna mention, I did a video review of the Wouxun KG-S72C handheld CB radios. They do AM, FM single sideband, and they charge off of USB-C. Freaking cool little handheld. If you're interested in that, they actually also sell what do you call it? Hold on, let me find the part in the video. For those watching on YouTube, they have telescopic antennas too for CB that Better Safe Radio sells. That'll go on that radio. It's actually pretty slick.
Yeah, I watched some other YouTuber do a review on those or whatever because he was just trash talking it the whole time. Which, I mean, I get, CB isn't for everyone, but like he was standing on a mountain trying to talk to somebody or something where he was because they only do like 2 watts or something like that. And basically us CB guys are just telling them, and they're like, yeah, you with a handheld, because the way the antennas are, because you really like a rubber duck on a 2-meter GMRS radio is going to like be a lot closer to a quarter wave, or will be a quarter wave or whatever, where those little rubber duck antennas on a handheld CB, they're really like not going to be efficient at all.
Sure.
So
yeah, the rubber ducks are trash. That's why I was saying the telescopic antennas are the way to go. So somebody's correcting me that it doesn't do single. Oh, AM FM. You're right. I'm sure I mentioned that in the video, so nobody at me. I just forgot.
There's another radio that I love to throw in for grab and go, Stryker SR89MC. It's one of those where you plug the mic in and the mic has all your controls on it.
Oh yeah, what is it again?
Plugs
Stryker
into
what?
80 SR89MC. And it's another one of those. I remember for a while there, Cobra Uniden made one that was very similar, where it's just a handheld.
They're discontinued.
What?
I haven't even seen that Stryker, but they have another small one that's like one of their 10-meter radios.
It is cool though.
And
There's very cute. There's a few styles of those like that handheld out there.
Yes.
Or hand mic.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
There's one that has it's straight up a 12-volt cigarette adapter that you shove in there and it does its thing.
They need one like that.
Midland makes one like that. Midland has some interesting products too. They had an app for a while. A lot of the people on it were really toxic, so I don't get on it anymore. But they had the CB Talk app, and you could buy a mic that would plug into any 4-pin CB radio, and it was like a power mic, so it would amplify your voice like it had a preamp already, but it would also Bluetooth pair to this app, so you could flip a switch or use, I think it had a separate push-to-talk button, and it was a speaker mic, so you could Bluetooth it to your phone through the app and select a channel for whatever it was in the app. And it even had, like, it was kind of sketchy, but it had a location option where it would show other truck drivers or other users of the CB Talk app near you. So it kind of function like a Zello radio or whatever. But it would,
that's wild.
It would actually do like people nearby you if you wanted to, or you could do like a global one. So a lot of people I know would talk in like the UK one and talk to like UK truck drivers and stuff like that. You can actually use the app without like any fancy stuff. You can download it or whatever on, I think it's on both Android and Apple, and you can just hop in there and talk to random people. They have like moderators and stuff like that. And so if you just like want something like sort of like Zello, but you just talk to random people in different group chats or whatever in different areas. They have different rooms for that. It's a little neat, but like I said, sometimes the people there can be toxic.
Yeah.
It's CB radio. What do you expect?
Yeah. So I got two super chats really quick. Aaron Linden, Type-C charging for HTs, please. It's almost 2023. Please, everybody. Go to USB-C for everything. There's no reason anymore for any other type. And then Kyle Millen, thank you for the super chat as well. Sorry, Sideboom. Go ahead.
I just seen on Wilcott Radio something I've never seen before, but apparently they now make a Cobra 19 Mini, which looks like that radio oddity.
Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this one. The Midland. It has a. It's a 2-part thing. So there's the one connection that goes to the cigarette adapter, the 12-volt, and then there's a battery bottom to it. That's cool. I may have to pick one of those up. That's pretty slick.
That's an olden. That's been around for probably 15 years.
They stole that design from the Motorola Sabre. That's a blatant ripoff.
Yeah, I dropped a link for that one in the in the chat
Yeah.
on Amazon.
Yeah, no, I won't be doing USB-C charging for my Ford Lightning whenever that shows up.
But SideBoom, I want a Radio Shack TRC 214.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. The real. I'll show you what the real.
What's the one that I have?
Handheld that you need. Let me get this going here. And go back
I think
up.
I have a. I think it's a realistic. Is it a 453? TRC 453.
That's the one you really want.
Don't mind me just making a meme.
Crystal controlled.
What about the help
channel? 14.
I had one of those. Josh.
That's it.
Where's your help radio?
That's all. I got my help radio.
70s.
Yeah, let me get the help CB radio thing.
I got
going.
it.
Get the help radio going.
Yeah, hold on. I got that too.
Well, no, the Radio Shack one that I had was good, and I carried it a lot on like road trips and stuff.
Oh my god!
It got out and it worked well.
There it is.
If you want one of those Radio Shack radios, I probably know a guy, because when I was saying I get CB radios for free, I wasn't kidding. One of my mom's old friends, he was a truck driver, and he has literally like a whole shack full of nothing but CB and 10-meter radios. And like he's like, oh, I'm leaving all this to you in my will or whatever. And I'm like, man, what am I gonna do with all these CB radios? Because I only need like 2, maybe 3 for a base station or something like that. The only thing I'm sad he doesn't have is one of those Browning Golden Eagles or whatever that are like the tube ones, known for the really good little sound whenever you key up and key down on them.
Shanks, can I break your heart?
Which one is that one they show in the that Netflix show? I can't remember.
Stranger
the name
Things?
of it. Yeah, Stranger Things. That's the one I actually had, that Radio Shack. And it had crystals in it, and you bought
it's
Radio Shack and grabbed the crystals.
TRC. It's a realistic TRC. It's either the 217 or the 218. I have one as well.
Well, I didn't. I had one. It's long gone because I used it all the time. But that thing had like 3 watts on it, and that antenna that they showed, that thing is long. And I would literally like stick it out the car window while my dad was driving down the street, down the freeway, and I would talk to truckers on it. It did like 3 watts or more.
You cannot use that antenna while standing inside your average home. Even if you're sitting down, the antenna, it becomes about 9 feet tall.
It was a great radio. It was a great radio.
Except for the absolute mint of AA batteries you had to have on hand, right?
Yep. Oh, that's true. That's true.
Hey, Shanks, can I break your heart real quick?
Go for it.
The radio you want, it got flooded out during the hurricanes over here, so I lost one of my golden childs.
I see those at Hamfest often. Man. Do you know that? I see them often.
Yeah, but have you ever realized the prices on them?
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Yeah, they're proud of what they are.
Yeah. Nobody's giving those things away.
Oh, another one that's really expensive that it's hard to find, and it's better than the Striker and really hard to get your hands on, is a Magnum S9. I think it's a 375 watt radio or something like that. Those are, if you find one and it's a 375 watt, I think, and you find it for a good price, you better snatch it up, because like they are constantly sold real fast on eBay for lots of money.
Any of your Strikers go for, or the Striker with the round gauge, those go for a lot. I've got a S9, a S6, and what is this one?
The CBs are out dropping super chats.
Yeah, man. PB 1788. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. And I'm gonna go out on a bang on that one, because the kids are killing themselves. The wife had to go pick up dog food. She's on her way back right now, so I got to get ready for Rapapalooza. But appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's yelling in the background. All right, I gotta go, guys. You have a great evening, all you. Stick around on the Discord. Keep having fun. I'm gonna be in there in a second. Kick both your butts. I'm just kidding.
PB 1788. I do not know the answer to that.
I'm gonna hop off the Discord. You guys keep it going though. Have fun, and I'll talk
Thanks
to you
again,
later.
Josh.
See ya. Yeah, thank you, SIDEBOOM. Absolutely killer.
73, Josh.
73. All right. So I'm off Discord. Thanks everybody on the YouTube side. Tons of people watching. Thank you so much. Hey, who knew the CBers are a good bunch of people? We knew that though. We knew that deep down. So hey, thank you all for watching, and all my ham buddies as well. Getting ready for the holiday season again. Be ready next week. Christmas light antenna, and in fact, I have a new surveillance cam that I'm going to mount up on the roof. That's controllable. It's on a gimbal, so we're going to be able to see the contraption that I build, because it's going to be higher up in the air than any of the antennas I've ever made. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, 73, everybody. Enjoy your holiday, and or this time I call the holiday season. Anyway, take it easy. Controlled by chat? No. Well, maybe we could work on that. That'd be funny. I don't think I can do that, but we're probably not going to want to move it around too much. We're just going to want to point it at the end antenna, but you'll see. I promise you'll see. Kuritama! Take it easy, everybody.